that unique ability to do that, I think, is lead into our next segment here pretty good, because you and I talk a lot about how young people today emulate John Cash and the music, and young people emulate the sound of the Tennessee Three. We have played with some great bands around the country that they bill as Johnny Cash tribute bands and so forth, but they emulate that sound and they emulate those songs, and they're keeping that tradition going. They do a lot of the traditional songs that you guys did, and then they're doing a lot of the new songs that John did in the later years of his life too. That really was an amazing phenomenon. He's one of the very few artists of all time that was able to reinvent himself so many times and pick up a new audience along the way each time that he did. Got an email from a young man in Ireland. His name is J.P. Mack, and J.P. sent us an email, said he enjoys the show, and he is a Johnny Cash tribute artist. Now, this is from Ireland now, keep in mind. So it's around the world. It's global. And JP, you can see he sent us a nice picture of himself there. JP is a very young guy. I don't know how old he is. I would estimate he's in his early 20s.
Well, that's another thing that is amazing to me. Mm-hmm. And he's got to be in his early 20s or late teens.
Yeah.
He is really a young person.
Right.
And to think about anybody his age even cares mm-hmm. now about what anybody did back that many years ago.
That's true.
Of course, now he likes the American record music that John
mm-hmm.
made,
right.
which I think that's
some of his favorite.
That's some of his favorite stuff.
Yeah.
But he also did a version of Folsom. And again, what makes me feel so good, besides him doing a bang-up job doing it, the guys he had playing behind him, mm-hmm. hey, I'm not sure they're not a young Tennessee Three somewhere else.
I'll tell you what. We'll give this a listen a few minutes before the show tonight, and it really sounds good.
And another thing that I'm so glad of, him and whoever helped him do this realized that the Johnny Cash band sound mm-hmm. was important.
That's right.
And I'd like to meet these guys and see them play in person. Maybe they'll let us come over and be on their show.
That would be great, wouldn't it? Go to Ireland. Here's J.P. Mack and his version of Folsom Prison. Take a listen to this. I want to get your comments, WS, after we hear this. Here's Folsom Prison.
I hear the train a-comin', it's rolling round the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. But that train keeps a-rolling on down to San Antonio. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't ever play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. When I hear that whistle blowing, I hang my head and cry. Folks eating in a fancy dining car. They're probably drinking coffee and smoking big cigars. Well, I know I had it coming, I know I can't be free, but those people keep moving, and that's what tortures me. from this prison. If that railroad train was mine, I bet I'd move it all a little farther down the line. Far from Folsom Prison, that's where I want to stay. And I'd let that lonesome whistle blow my blues away.
You're listening to the WS Holland Show at JohnnyCashRadio.com. Glad to have you with us on this version and edition of our show. Let's take another break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about this version of Folsom Prison, done for you there by J.P. Mack from the great country of Ireland. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the W.S. Holland Show right here at JohnnyCashRadio.com. We just heard a cut before the break from J.P. Mack from Ireland. J.P. was very gracious, sent us a copy of his CD, and we're going to play at least a little bit of another song. We want to compare the two. Now, the idea here, W.S., did you ever think in your wildest imaginations back in 1965, 66, 67, that in the year 2010, young kids would be emulating the sound that you guys were making with John? Did that ever cross your mind?
It did not ever cross my mind. I had no idea that anybody was listening or either actually caring what we were doing.
Yeah.
And it is amazing to me that this many years later, and what a great feeling it is to hear these young kids. I won't call them young kids, because if you're under 50, you're a young kid. And these guys have got to be teenagers.
Yeah.
To hear a group, the singer and the players, to be playing something that they've heard us do. And and I was listening to the drum track there.
Yeah.
Man, that guy,
You're right.
he was, and sometimes I get thinking about it, I think it can't be true. It's a dream, because I'll get a call or something from somebody, every week or two. Yeah. Some young, I would still call them kids. I know when you get to be 16, 17, 18, 19, you don't want to be called a kid anymore. But when you get to be our age, you still call them kids. But to people that young, and I'll get a call every once in a while, and I'm Mr. Holland. I tell them, no, you're not talking to Mr. Holland. You're talking to WS. My dad was Mr. But anyway, and they want to tell me how you did that shuffle beat or that train sound on all those records back then. And I say, hey, the only way I know to tell you how I did that, what you got to do is just set the drums up backwards and not know what you're doing, and and just hit something, and maybe it'll come out that way.
You created a monster, didn't you?
Oh, me.
JP also sent us a track, and I want to play this, at least part of it. The song Hurt. I want to compare the traditional Folsom Prison to Hurt. Now, we listened to this off the air a little earlier, and you had some good comments about it. I want to play a little bit of this, and then we'll come back, and I want to know what W.S. Holland thinks of this version of Hurt. This is J.P. Mack.
I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. The needle tears a hole, the old familiar stain. Try to kill it all the way, but I remember everything. What have I become? My sweetest friend.
That's a version of Hurt by J.P. Mack from Ireland, who sent us those two cuts. And I just wanted to play that and give the listeners an idea out there of how just how great the music of Johnny Cash is, because artists still around the world are emulating his style, his songs, his way of doing things musically. What did you think about this version? I saw you smiling over there.
Well, I thought as that was playing, if anybody will listen to those two songs that JP does, Folsom and The Hurt, they will know immediately why he is the award-winning Johnny Cash tribute.
Yeah, he's had a great career so far over in Ireland, so maybe someday he'll make it this way.
It's amazing how good they are. But the song, The Hurt, that is another thing about John Cash that we know now that he could take, like we was talking about a while ago, any song and make it a Johnny Cash song. In my wildest dreams, if I'd ever had a dream of any kind, never would I thought I'd hear Johnny Cash sing The Hurt from the group Nine Inch Nails.
That's right.
And when he heard it, why did he think, man, I'm going to sing that song, and it's going to be a Johnny Cash song?
Yeah. He made